Shalom everyone, this is Chris Shoemaker, also known as Yehuda Ben Shomer, and I'm sitting out here outside this micro-brewery, bistro, pub kind of deal, and we're just sitting here enjoying the sunshine, watching people go by, and just having a couple pints with my buddy here, Robert Richards, but everybody calls you Bobby.
Bobby will do good, yes.
Yeah. So, obviously, you're not from around here, you're from jolly old England.
Well, it's not so jolly now, mate.
Yeah? What's going on?
Well, I'm sure most people, if you watch any news at all, now I realise Canada, you've got your problems, but where England is now, mate,
yeah,
is where Canada's probably going to be within, I'd say maybe 2, maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
You've heard that now. I don't know if you've heard very much about Tommy Robinson.
Isn't he the guy who...
He's the guy, he's the man. He's the man in England right now. And I know if you've got some viewers that are probably saying, we don't want him in our country, he's the man. If he makes it out of prison, mate, he's got a good chance of being the next Prime Minister of England if we got anything to say about it.
So he's the guy that got busted for claiming to be...
He got busted for saying what needed to be said, man. You know, we've got a problem with extreme Islam, yeah? That's what it is. Okay. That's what it's all about. You know, Tommy came to the forefront just basically a couple of years ago. He started the EDL, the English Defence League, some years ago to fight specifically Islamic extremism. And when I say extremism, you know, it takes there's a lot of layers to this, yeah? A lot of layers to it, needs to be understood. Tommy's fighting it. I think, basically, since he got arrested, I believe it was 2 weeks ago now, because he had every bit of freedom, of his freedom taken away, of speech. He couldn't say anything against the police, he couldn't say anything against the English government, the parliaments. He couldn't say anything from he's from a little, well, I'd say a little place called Luton. He grew up there, and...
is that where they make the cough drops? Luton's cough drops? Luton's?
Could be, mate. I'm not from Luton, you know,
okay.
But it could be, you know. But I know one thing, it's a lot of gagging there now. But, you know, but he grew up in Luton. He got bullied as a kid. Luton is a sort of a microcosm, like it's got your multicultural, you know.
Yeah.
It's and I want to say this again because you may have some that will be upset at even the name of Tommy Robinson. I'd say shame on you.
So, you know, just so that the viewers are clear, what exactly did he get in trouble for? I mean, what are they claiming that he did wrong? I mean, we know it has something in connection to do with Muslims and Islam.
Yeah, but you got to understand, Chris. He didn't do anything.
Well,
he didn't do anything wrong. Listen, let me put it this way. Tommy's been very specific, very clear when he says, we're not against Muslims. Tommy Robinson has nothing against Muslims. Tommy has nothing against Christians. You're a Jew. Tommy's got nothing wrong against or bad to say about Jews or the gay movement or anybody else. Black, green, white, it doesn't matter. What he's against, specifically at this point, is Muslim extremism, Islamic extremism. That's what he's against. And when he's been in the news, put it this way, because from what I understand, it's happening in Canada as well. Mm-hmm. I'm hearing a lot of people...
Bigger cities.
Yeah, well, I'm hearing a lot of people dissatisfied with, what is it, Justina, what is his name?
Justin Trudeau.
Right, him. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of negative comments about Islamic extremism within the country of Canada. And again, as I said before, 2 years from now, you're going to be in the same spot England is. We're so close to a civil war, and I mean that with everything. What Tommy did, see, in Luton itself, as well as other small towns, and I lost track of how many mosques there is in England. Now again, keep in mind, he's not against Islam. He's not against Muslims. Tommy basically is not what you call a faithful man. He doesn't walk in any particular step. right?
Okay, so he does. So he doesn't claim to be any particular religious persuasion.
Yeah, but what he demands, and I think what every country demands, is if you have a country that's going well, and you've got your laws and your morality and standards set up, then keep them.
Mm-hmm.
But all through history, Brother Chris, and you being a Jew, understand that in the Old Testament, as things came along, it comes to me when the Jewish people cried out for a king, right? Because they were a theocracy. They were like God-led. And whether or not I'm a believer or not, listen, you have to understand history, yeah? It all takes, when they got a king, what happened? Things began to deteriorate because people got away from God. They got away from what made them strong in the first place. Mm-hmm. You can love Israel, hate Israel, love the history, hate the history. In the Middle East, it's like a firestorm. There's too much to go into right now. But what I want to say is when God said, I think in particular of Solomon, King Solomon, as I read scriptures, as I know it, I'm not totally ignorant of them, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the downfall of Israel happened, and it was one of the greatest, if not still the greatest nation on the planet. If you want to dispute that fact, you dispute that with God. You need not dispute it with me, or Tommy Robinson, or anybody else. Take it up with God. And if you don't believe God, then you're an unbeliever holding on to nothing, and your country will be swallowed up by extremists. But it seems to me that the downfall happened when Solomon, in order to make his great trade routes, right, because he was known on the planet of the day as being the most wise king, the richest, the most powerful one, and in order to make his trade routes and trade with different countries, as it were, he took on concubines and wives, right?
Right.
So there was
political marriages.
Political marriages, and what did they bring with them, the wives?
They brought their pagan religions.
They brought their pagan religions. England was, was known at one time as a Christian nation.
Yeah.
It's got far from that, but when it's not so much the Muslims. If you come to a country, then walk within the laws and the structure of that country, and they're not doing it.
Yeah. Well, I think what the issue is here is if you look at immigration of the United States back in the 30s and 40s, when people are being processed through Ellis Island, you had Italians, you had Germans, you had Chinese, you had people from all over Europe and all over the world coming to the United States because it was the land of freedom, it was the land of opportunity. And what they did, I think this is the difference. What they did was they assimilated themselves. Doesn't matter if they were Irish, doesn't matter if they were Italian, doesn't matter. They assimilated into American culture, into the melting pot, and they all became Americans. Now, that's not to say that they did away with their own culture and their own language.
Right.
And they had their own neighborhoods. They had the Irish part of town and the Italian part of town, the Greek part of town, the Chinese.
They were still Americans.
But they were still Americans. They may have spoke their native language in their home and they ate their native foods within their home. But when they were out in public, in the workplace, or among Americans, they were fully Americans. They didn't demand that somebody speak Welsh. They didn't demand somebody speak German. They didn't demand somebody speak Italian. They spoke English because they knew that was expected of them. And with the extremism today, whether it be Islam or whether it be somebody coming from another country and demanding that you learn their language instead of them learning our language, they're wanting their culture to be the prominent culture, where they're doing away with American tradition, American law, and doing the whole Sharia law thing, crying out for Sharia law.
Right, and it's the thing. Again, there's a lot of layers to this. It's come out in the last. He's getting interviewed. Don't know where he was. There was a big rally just this week in London for Tommy Robinson. And I just get people to YouTube it, great YouTube, and figure it out for yourself. People talk about fake news. Well, a lot of fake news was coming out about Tommy Robinson, but not so much now because finally it seems that the mainstream media is finally getting in on this.
Yeah.
And they're finding out that through different interviews and things that, do you know, he spoke at Oxford University.
Oh yeah.
And he did a speech, and it is amazing to watch the faces of some of the students that were in the assembly, because I think it was an eye-opener. It's not Tommy Robinson that England has to fear. It's the extremist Islamic group, because they're taking over. You know, you said you've got like Little Italy, you've got different places. I'm thinking New York City, London has them as well,
right.
And we've had them for decades,
right.
And there's really been no problem. But there's beginning to be a problem now, because your Muslim population is getting larger, and your extremism within it. Do you know, they said, and this is a fact, and you can check it on YouTube, they had a rally, some of the extremists, and I'm not sure if it was Luton or not, but they said, actually it was on Armistice Day, that Tommy at this assembly in Oxford had actually showed it. There's extremists, and not just a few of them behind these lines. It's Armistice Day. For God's sakes, man. Leave it alone, right? They're screaming, British soldiers go to hell. British soldiers go to hell on Armistice Day.
Wow.
And not only that, but they're burning poppies on the ground. Burning poppies and chanting, British soldiers go to hell.
Poppy flowers, poppy.
Yes,
yeah, okay.
yes.
Not puppies, poppies.
Well, it could be probably a few puppies, but it's despicable.
Yeah.
It's England. And so what you've got is they have strong-armed, bullied, paid off, bought off, whatever it is, from council members of small parliaments, going up into the highest levels. Unfortunately, Tommy's been screaming, somebody do something. Now, the English Defence League has come on board. We've been called right-wing extremists. And in case some of you listeners don't know, Tommy came out against, because we had a group of Nazis. Nazis want to join us on the march. Tommy said, you're not doing it.
Yeah. Because they're just another different flavor of extremism.
And he's against extremism.
Yeah.
So we burnt the Nazi flag. A bunch got together and we burned it. We said we do not want you on our march. It's not right. And so now we've had them against us.
Well, hey, grab your pint. I want to make a toast.
Two.
Here's to you, Tommy Robinson. England needs you more than you will know. Oh,
mate. Okay, that's good. I want to tell you something. You better shadow out your face. Some may not take it. You're not going to England anytime soon, eh?
No. Well, and you know, when you're talking about this extremism, I've seen this firsthand on my travels. I've been to Manchester. I have been to England before. I've been to Germany, to Dusseldorf, and
You've been to where?
Manchester.
If you say that to someone from Manchester, they're going to punch you right in the face.
Why?
Because it's not Manchester, it's Manchester.
Okay.
You follow me, mate?
Yeah. Manchester.
No, Manchester.
Manchester.
Whatever, mate.
Anyway, but I noticed in England and in Stuttgart and Dusseldorf, Germany, that I seen more Arabs and Muslims than I did Germans or Europeans. And they weren't dressed like Europeans. They were dressed like they just stepped off the plane from Saudi Arabia. And again, I'm not slamming culture and I'm not slamming Muslims or Arabs, but there was no assimilation. There was no melting pot into the culture. They demand to be separate. And what their philosophy is they go to a country and start bringing their family and friends and slowly take over the population. And wherever they, put a mosque, they claim, well, that's for Allah. That's Islamic land. We have conquered this in the name of Allah. So that's their end game, is to basically take over the countries and make them Islamic countries and Islamic states. And we are living in a post-Christian era in the United States, in Canada, and in Europe.
But maybe, again, Tommy's made it very clear that in our country, we cannot allow extremism on any level.
Right.
It's not good.
Well, and I mean, the American Constitution guarantees, freedom of religion, and so there, there's nobody and nothing against Islam or Judaism or Christianity or Buddhism or whatever flavor of religion that you want to throw out there. America is all for it, as long as it doesn't break the laws of the land, like perhaps Satanism would with human sacrifice or whatnot like that. But it's not against any religion or against any race. It's against the extremism in all sects, whether it be white supremacy, whether it be the Black Power movement, whether it be Islam, whether it be, anti-Semitism. There's extremisms everywhere, and it's the extremism that Tommy Robinson and the Constitution that be is against.
Well,
right?
to what's in my mind, it's like it's in my mind. It's not coming from Tommy, but from my mind, it's sort of like the Jim Jones effect. When you have an extremist, extreme ideals, and the country begins to be rife with people looking for something to hang on to, a powerful voice, and that's what we have in some of the those that are coming out in the extreme in extreme Islam.
Yeah.
And when you get the more you get, it's like they start from a house, and then they take over a block, and then they take over the town, then they take over the county, and sooner or later they'll take over the country. They said this. They said it in public. There's videos.
Yeah.
They said if you're not Islamic, if you're not Muslim, you're going to hell. They said it. They called our women down. They spit. Ask people in Luton if you can get in there now. Many, hundreds, have got spit on. Literally spit on. Finally, this information's coming out, but they've kept Tommy quiet. They've kept the EDL quiet. They can't keep us quiet no longer. These things are factual. These things happen. And if it doesn't stop, England will be flying a Muslim flag. I guarantee you. And what I say to people is, listen, again, we're not against Muslim. How many extremists do you think there are in Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Germany, different places, Serbia, different places around the world? You can go there, you can buy goods, and you can do your vacation, and you may. But I tell you one thing: go out in the street corner and start preaching for Buddha, start preaching for Jesus, start saying that our scriptures, our things are true. See how long you're going to last. It doesn't even have to be an extremist. It's a Muslim. It's an Islamic country. And you'll not get away with nothing in comparison to what these guys are doing. And Tommy's trying to stop that. And I'm telling you now, again, it'll come to Canada. It's the fastest, as far as I know, the fastest growing religion in the United States. Yeah. And probably Canada as well, I don't know.
No, probably right, especially in the bigger places like Quebec and Toronto and Vancouver and things like that. It hasn't really touched Plaster Rock per se, but actually they are taking refugees into the neighboring town of Perth, Andover, and but they're Muslim families that are seeking asylum in refugee status.
And that's fine. That's
right.
That's we're again.
And churches are helping the refugees come, the Muslim refugees, but they're not extremists. They've been kind of filtered and been kind of gone through the process, and so they're not extremists. They're refugees seeking asylum.
You being Jewish.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of Jews, a lot of radicals, a lot of extremists.
Oh yeah, you've got the ultra-Orthodox sect that if you go into their neighborhoods and you say Jesus, you're going to get pelted with stones, man. You're going to get bottles thrown at you. And if you drive your car through their neighborhood on the Sabbath, you're going to get your tire slashed because you're not supposed to be driving cars on the Sabbath. So yeah, there's extremism even in Judaism.
But there's nothing on the planet like extreme Islam. Nothing.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
nothing.
true.
And so I'll be leaving back. I'll be going back to England, and people need to pray for Tommy because to some degree we're not sure where he is. So just pray for Tommy Robinson. And I think that, you know, there's no reason for people to be ignorant.
Right. Knowledge is power.
Right.
Yeah.
So get on and look at it. Check it out. See, check out Tommy, because it's not just Tommy Robinson. It's a battle for a country. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you know, you want equality for every. We're strong in our diversity, whether it be Europe, whether it be Canada or the United States. And Canada is really a part of England because we're part of the Commonwealth. We still have the Queen on our money, but we're strong in the diversity, but you want equality and you want fairness within that diversity where everybody has a chance and a fair shake and to be heard, not one jockeying for position over the other.
I think it was your leader, I believe, that said that, I think he said something to the effect that your diversity here in Canada is your strength. That's what he said. Yeah, that's what he said. I don't look at it that way. I think that your diversity sometimes can be a weakness.
Oh, it can if you let one part of that diversity overpower the other.
And that's what's going on. That's what's going on. And it can't go on. It just can't go on. And we're just saying, Canada, wake up. US, wake up. The rest of the world, wake up. Because it's coming to you next. I'm telling you.
Well, kind of like the watchman on the wall, right? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.
But if I were you, I'd probably edit that foolish little song of yours.
Why?
I don't know. I'm just hoping it'll give Tommy a laugh.
Maybe.
Here's to you, Tommy.
Yeah.
Robinson.
Well, we're going to sign off right now, and this has been Chris Shoemaker, Yehuda Ben Shomer, and my friend Robert.
Bobby's fine.
Yeah, Richards. Any relation to Keith Richards?
I never really thought of it. I should check. Could be a rich man.
Yeah, maybe.
He's ugly.
You look,
He's ugly.
You look a lot younger than him.
I think,
Yeah, all right.
I am.
Shalom.
Want a good laugh that's just clean fun and carries a positive spiritual message? Then check out Dr. Dialect. Just go to my YouTube channel, Ray Bash Katan, and look for the playlist Dr. Dialect. This guy will leave you in stitches.
That crazy man. What's a Nazi? What's a song? Well, here's to you, Tommy Robinson. England loves you more than you will know. That's gonna go real good, isn't it?
Hey, Bobby, you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here, yeah, mate.
Oh.
Yeah, I figured once you shut the camera off, I'd stay behind and finish, a few tips.
No, the camera's been rolling the whole time. Yeah, I just came to turn it off.
You're telling me the bloody camera's been running the whole time?
Yeah, I just came to turn it off.
Well, turn it off,
Okay,
mate.
all right, sorry, man.